Have you ever wondered why, after hours of watching manifestation videos, visualizing the life you desire, and repeating affirmations until your voice goes hoarse, your reality still whispers the same old story? It's a riddle wrapped in digital incense. If we are the creators of our reality, why do so many remain stuck in cycles they desperately try to escape? Perhaps the true alchemy has been hidden, not lost but buried beneath layers of trendy advice, shallow motivation, and half-remembered ancient wisdom diluted for virality. You've been given puzzle pieces, but never shown the sacred pattern they belong to. Today we are not here to chant another mantra into the void. Today we dig deeper. This is not just a video. This is a sacred disruption, a gentle unraveling of illusion. Because the truth is this: real manifestation, true spiritual creation, is not something you binge on YouTube. It is something you become. The ancient mystics did not sit in circles repeating, "I am rich," and waiting for gold to rain from the skies. They entered temples carved in silence. They wrestled with inner shadows. They aligned their soul with divine law, not algorithms. The sages of Egypt, the yogis of the Himalayas, the shamans of forgotten forests. They all knew what most modern seekers have forgotten. You do not attract what you want. You attract what you are. And what you are is not defined by what you speak or what you desire. It is defined by what you embody in your stillest, most unseen moments. This is why the loop continues for many. They think more content will change their life, more hacks, more tips, more methods. But what they truly need is less noise and more presence. They need to stop watching and start becoming. But before we go further, I ask you to sit with this. What if the real reason your manifestations aren't appearing is because your energy is leaking into everyone else's vision but your own? Each time you scroll, you adopt someone's voice, someone's belief, someone's 5-step method, until your soul becomes a patchwork of other people's vibrations, stitched together with spiritual FOMO. That is not sacred creation. That is unconscious mimicry. And the universe? It doesn't respond to mimicry. It responds to mastery. And mastery begins when the student stops searching outward and turns inward. This is your invitation. To step beyond content and into consciousness, to stop consuming and start constructing. Because manifestation is not magic. It is a memory. The memory of who you were before the world told you to chase, before you were taught to force, before your power was outsourced to pixels and gurus and systems promising shortcuts to the divine. Today, we don't offer a shortcut. We offer a soul key, one that unlocks the ancient art of manifestation that was never about speaking, wishing, or hoping, but about alignment, embodiment, and sacred discipline. In the next stages of this journey, we will walk through forgotten temples of wisdom. We will study the mystical architects who mastered creation, not through desire, but through dominion over self. We will explore why watching video after video creates spiritual stagnation instead of movement. And we will unveil what you must do to reclaim your power as a true creator, not a passive seeker. But this initiation begins with silence, with reverence, with a question etched in golden dust upon the walls of the eternal temple. Are you ready to stop watching and start remembering who you truly are? Because the ancient path doesn't begin with knowing more. It begins with unlearning everything that is not true. And now, beloved soul, the path opens. The forgotten blueprint of manifestation, what the ancients knew. Long before the word manifestation became a trending term, it was a mystical science studied in the temples of Kemet, whispered in the firelit caves of Siberian shamans, and encoded into the mandalas of Vedic seers. Not a trend, but a temple art. Not something to be done, but something to be lived. The ancient world did not separate spirituality from creation. To manifest was not to ask, it was to align. The Egyptians called it Heka, the sacred utterance, not just of words, but of vibration aligned with Ma'at, the cosmic order. They knew that every thought, every gesture, every ritual had to echo the harmony of the universe. Creation was not something they tried to do, it was something they became one with. In India, the rishis meditated in forests, not for power, but for purification. They believed the world was a maya, an illusion shaped by chitta, the field of consciousness. They taught that manifestation begins not in the mind, but in the quality of your awareness. A fragmented mind cannot create a whole reality. In ancient Taoist philosophy, the principle of wu-wei, effortless action, reigned supreme. The Tao does not force, it flows. They believed in attuning to the natural current of existence rather than swimming against it. Desire, when unbalanced, was considered a disease of the spirit. True manifestation was moving in harmony with the Tao, not against it. Even the mystics of early Christianity, the Gnostics, spoke of the Logos, the divine word, not as language, but as the ordering principle behind all reality. To create was to resonate with this cosmic vibration. That resonance didn't come from watching more, learning more, or saying more. It came from becoming more spiritually congruent. Do you see the thread? Each culture, from Mesopotamia to Mesoamerica, taught this. You cannot fake vibration. You cannot bypass alignment. You cannot trick the universe with words while your soul is in contradiction. They did not sit around trying to manifest money and lovers. They asked, who must I become to match the frequency of that which I seek? Let's return to Egypt for a moment. The Temple of Luxor, for instance, was not just a place of worship. It was a blueprint of the human soul. Every room represented a stage of spiritual development. You had to pass initiations, endure silence, face the dark corridors of the self, before you were allowed to speak the sacred words that altered reality. This wasn't superstition, it was spiritual architecture. Compare this to today. Many seekers skip the inner work and go straight to the desires. They light candles, repeat affirmations, visualize luxuries, and wonder why their life remains unchanged. They have missed the sacred sequence. The ancient order was always purify, align, embody, create. Today's culture often says, desire, speak, wait, complain. And so we return again and again to the YouTube rabbit hole, looking for the next technique, when what we truly need is initiation, not into a method, but into a new state of being. Hermes Trismegistus, the mystical teacher whose teachings birthed Hermeticism, once said, as within, so without, as above, so below. This wasn't poetic fluff. It was a law, a formula. Your outer world must reflect your inner state. If your consciousness is fragmented, anxious, doubtful, and addicted to outcomes, then no matter how many times you say, I am wealthy, the universe hears the vibration underneath. I'm afraid I'm not enough. I am desperate. I am watching others live what I cannot. And so the manifestation doesn't arrive, because it cannot. Not because you are unworthy, but because you are incoherent. Ancient wisdom knew how to restore coherence. They practiced fasting, not just of food, but of noise. They kept vows of silence, not because talking was wrong, but because the voice should be sacred, not casual. They meditated in darkness, not to escape, but to face what was lurking in the caves of their psyche. And then, only then, did they utter sacred words of creation. They understood that manifestation is sacred speech, speech powered by purified presence and precise intention. Let's look at the ancient Hebrews now. The very word for word in Hebrew, davar, also means thing. Because in that tradition, words were not ideas. They were actual events in the unseen world. This is why in the Genesis story, God does not build the world with his hands. He speaks it. Let there be light. And there was light. The mystical message is clear. Creation is not made of effort. It is made of vibration. And vibration arises not from what you say, but from who you are when you say it. Today, many speak without alignment. They chant affirmations while doubting every syllable. They visualize wealth while embodying scarcity. They seek love while bathing in self-rejection. But this was never the way of the initiates. In the temple schools of ancient Greece, a student would undergo years of study before even touching the mysteries of creation. Not because the secrets were complex, but because they were dangerous in unready hands. To create without consciousness is to cast shadows instead of light. To speak without spirit is to summon illusions instead of miracles. And so here we are, surrounded by information but starving for wisdom. drenched in methods but thirsting for meaningful change. And the question returns, full circle. Are you ready to do what the ancients did? To go beyond words and into the sacred transformation of self? Because until your nervous system becomes the soil for new creation, your words are seeds scattered on stone. You are not here to mimic ancient practices. You are here to remember you are the temple. You are not here to recite affirmations. You are here to become the affirmation made flesh. So now we stand at a threshold. Behind us, the world of content. Ahead of us, the path of becoming. And as the mystery schools of old would whisper before the first rite of passage, he who would wield the word must first master the silence. Are you ready to master that silence? You don't attract what you want. You attract what you embody. Imagine standing before a mirror, not the kind framed in wood or silver, but the invisible mirror that surrounds you at every moment, the mirror of consciousness. In this mirror, the universe reflects not your wishes, but your frequency. Not your intentions, but your integration. This is the hidden key behind all true manifestation. You are not attracting with your words, you are revealing with your state. And here is the great paradox most seekers miss. The more you try to manifest, the more you affirm that what you desire is not yet here. Effort, when laced with desperation, becomes spiritual resistance. Wanting becomes a whisper of lack, and that whisper becomes a broadcast that the universe answers faithfully. The universe does not give you what you ask for. It responds to who you are being. Let me offer you a story. In the ancient mystery schools of Atlantis, before their memory was swallowed by time, it is said that initiates were led into a chamber called the Hall of Echoes. There, they would sit in complete silence. No one would speak. No teachings were given. And yet the moment a student thought, the walls would respond. If one thought fear, the torches would dim. If one thought of love, warmth would spread through the air. If one thought doubt, the floor would rumble beneath them. This chamber was not punishing them. It was simply reflecting their inner reality. You see, manifestation is not a ritual of doing, it is the result of being. When your internal world is fragmented, your body in one place, your mind in another, your soul calling out in forgotten languages, you send conflicting signals into the sacred field of creation. It is like tuning a harp with broken strings and expecting divine music. No matter how poetic the song, the instrument must be aligned. And you are the instrument. Let us deepen the metaphor. Picture a tuning fork. It does not try to become a frequency. It simply holds a pitch. When another object nearby resonates at the same frequency, it begins to vibrate in harmony. This is called entrainment, a law of nature. Now hear this clearly. You do not attract through chasing, chanting, or craving. You attract through entertainment. And entrainment is the silent echo of who you are in your purest, most aligned state. This is why people who are desperate for love often repel it. Why those grasping for money often find themselves in cycles of scarcity. And why those who embody peace, wholeness, and clarity seem to magnetize everything they need without effort. Because their vibration already matches the outcome. You may be thinking, but I'm trying so hard. I visualize my journal. I say my affirmations every morning. Yes, but who is saying them? If your affirmations are built on the shaky ground of self-doubt, then your soul is echoing contradiction. You are speaking light from a chamber filled with shadows. And the universe responds to the chamber, not just the chant. So what is the solution? You must move from performing manifestation to becoming it. And that shift is internal, subtle, and sacred. Let us break this down in 3 sacred truths. Many have heard of the law of attraction, but fewer understand the deeper law beneath it, the law of resonance. Resonance is not about thought, it's about vibration. About the frequency your energy field emits when you are not trying to impress the universe, but simply being. The ancient mystics taught that thoughts are surface ripples, but true frequency is rooted in your subconscious beliefs, your nervous system, your breath, and your unspoken expectations. If you think you are worthy, but feel tense when receiving, your body is still tuned to scarcity. If you speak abundance, but your gut contracts at the sight of a bill, your field is broadcasting fear. Resonance is not what you say, it's what you live. And to change your resonance, You must go deeper than thought. You must enter the temple of the felt sense, of embodiment. Let us journey again to the East. In the Upanishads, it is said that knowledge is not the end, it is the beginning. The path of jnana, or wisdom, was not just to know truth intellectually, but to become it. Modern seekers often confuse information with initiation. They binge teachings, collect insights, nod with spiritual agreement, but never walk the path, never still the body, never root the teaching into their breath, habits, posture, voice, presence. But true manifestation begins when you become the truth you have learned. Not when you repeat it, not when you explain it, when you embody it in the unseen moments when no one is watching. For example, you don't manifest confidence by affirming, "I am confident." You manifest confidence by walking into a room and embodying congruence between your inner and outer state. Shoulders relaxed, breath grounded, voice calm, energy open. At that moment, the universe doesn't hear your words. It hears your coherence. In many ancient lineages, manifestation began with stillness, because without stillness you cannot hear the divine echo within. You may recall the words of Psalm 46, "Be still and know that I am God." This was not just spiritual poetry, it was sacred instruction. Stillness is not passivity, it is alignment. It is only in the silence that the initiate hears the instruction. It is only in the breath that the creator remembers the blueprint. This is why watching more videos often leads to less clarity, because your mind becomes overfed while your soul remains unfed. You become a seeker drowning in teachings, but starving for presence. And so we return to the core truth: stop watching, start becoming. You don't need more voices. You need your own. You don't need more tools. You need inner stillness so you can wield the ones you already have. You don't need more answers. You need the silence in which the real answer can arise. The silence that speaks not in words, but in knowing. And from this knowing, manifestation ceases to be a practice and becomes your presence. Now the veil is thin. We will explore why some people manifest things quickly, while others, despite years of trying, remain blocked, and what mystical secrets explain this. The sacred contradictions, why you stay blocked, are how the hidden mechanics work. The deeper you walk the path, the more paradoxes you will encounter, not because the truth is cruel, but because it is layered. Truth is veiled, not to hide it, but to protect its power from the unprepared. And one of the greatest veils in the world of manifestation is this: you will not receive what you truly desire until you no longer need it. At first, this sounds cruel, cold, even discouraging. But listen closely, this is not punishment, this is alignment. The universe does not operate on begging energy. It does not respond to emotional manipulation or hurried timelines. It moves through coherence, wholeness, balance. The moment your desire becomes your identity, you have created separation. When you want something too much, when your entire worth and happiness is tied to its arrival, you are not creating, you are chasing. And chasing always implies distance. This is the sacred contradiction. The more you obsess over something, the more you declare that it is not here. That frequency of not here becomes your offering to the sacred mirror of creation. Let's return to the teachings of the Tao. Lao Tzu, the great sage, once wrote, "By letting it go, it all gets done. The world is won by those who let it go." He was not speaking of apathy. He was revealing a mystical truth. Detachment is power. Detachment is not indifference. It is the release of desperation. When you become so whole, so rooted, so at peace with the now, that even your desires do not disturb your center, then and only then do you magnetize reality. This is not magic. It is magnetism. And magnetism arises when the soul is free of striving. You've seen this before. Why is it that someone who forgets about a goal suddenly receives it out of the blue? Why is it that the relationship comes when the person finally starts loving themselves without needing anyone? Why is it that abundance flows when someone stops chasing money and begins living on purpose? It is not random. It is an energetic law. The sacred current of creation cannot flow through a vessel clinging to outcome. You must become an open chalice, not a clenched fist. Let us now explore another sacred paradox: Many people today are addicted to high vibes, constantly seeking to feel good, stay positive, and avoid anything that seems low frequency. But here's what the ancient mystics understood, and what modern seekers often resist. Light is born from darkness, wholeness includes shadow, and manifestation requires integration, not avoidance. When you suppress fear, it leaks. When you deny grief, it grows roots in your field. When you pretend everything is fine, your vibration fractures beneath the mask. True manifestation demands that you see yourself clearly, not just your light, but also your wounds. The shamans of old would guide their apprentices not toward the heavens first, but into the caves of their own soul. There they would confront spirits, visions, memories, and ancestral weight. Only after facing the shadow could they wield the power of the light. Today, many skip this step. They focus only on vision boards and affirmations, but they never clear the subconscious clutter blocking the signal. Imagine trying to tune a sacred radio with mud on the dial. No matter how beautiful the music, the distortion remains. So the work is not to try harder. It is to become clearer, to purify the signal, to face the parts of you that whisper, "I don't deserve this, it's too late, who am I to ask?" Because if those whispers go unchallenged, they will become the dominant vibration, and the universe will answer them, not your words. Now let us lean into one more mystical truth. You've heard this phrase before, the divine timing, but most people misunderstand it. They think divine timing is about waiting for the stars to align or hoping the universe decides when they're ready. No. Divine timing is the moment when your inner world becomes ripe enough to birth the outer change. It is not passive, it is not random. It is the result of consistent inner cultivation. The tree does not bear fruit because the sky allowed it, but because the roots deepened, the soil was nourished, and the seasons were honored. So if your manifestation has not arrived, it may not be because the universe is withholding it. It may be because you are still the one who can carry it without dropping it. This is not judgment, it is grace. Sometimes the delay is a miracle. Sometimes the void is the teacher. And sometimes silence is not punishment but preparation. In the words of the mystic poet Rumi, try not to resist the changes that come your way. Instead, let life live through you. Because when you stop resisting, stop forcing, stop performing, and simply return to being, then the sacred current flows once more. And manifestation becomes inevitable, not because you watched the perfect video, but because you became the perfect vessel. Are you ready to become that vessel? Then let us now cross the bridge from understanding to embodiment. Next, we enter the sacred heart of the journey. All ancient wisdom points to this truth. Real transformation happens not when you know more, but when you live differently. So now, seeker of the unseen, we leave behind the echoes of theory and step into the breath of practice. This is the place where miracles are no longer concepts, but companions, where your daily life becomes a spiritual ceremony. The first step? Every ancient spiritual path begins with stillness. The noise of the world, the mind's chatter, the endless scrolling. These are the weeds that choke the garden of manifestation. You must reclaim silence as sacred. Daily practice. Each morning, before the world touches you, before screens, voices, or thoughts of duty, sit in silence. Just 10 minutes. Breathe deeply. Feel your heartbeat. Observe the sensation of being, not doing, not fixing, not planning. This is your return to the center. You are not manifesting from chaos. You are re-entering coherence. Over time, this silence becomes your sacred chamber. And within it, you will begin to hear yourself again. The real you, the magnetic, undistorted you. That voice will guide everything else. You cannot pour sacred wine into a cracked cup. You must seal the fractures, old trauma, buried shame, unspoken fears. This is not about fixing yourself, it's about becoming whole again. In ancient initiations, purification always came before power. The Egyptians fasted and bathed in sacred waters. The Essenes practiced silence and solitude. The Vedic sages engaged in mantra, breath, and fire rituals. You must do the same, modernized for your daily life. Modern ritual: begin a release journal. Each evening, write freely. Ask, What emotions did I suppress today? What stories about myself did I repeat? Where did I act from fear instead of love? Then release, tear the page, burn it if you must. This act is symbolic, but energy follows symbols. You are declaring, this does not live here anymore. Do this daily. The more you empty what is not you, the more space the universe has to fill with what is yours. Most people want with the mind, but resist with the body. They say, I am ready, but their nervous system is still in survival mode. This incoherence is why many manifestations do not arrive. You must bring all levels of your being, mental, emotional, physical, energetic, into agreement. Embodiment practice. Stand in front of a mirror, breathe slowly, speak your desire aloud. Now observe. Does your voice tremble? Does your stomach tighten? Does your posture shrink or expand? If any part of your body resists the affirmation, pause. Do not fight it. Place your hand over that part of the body. Breathe into it. Say, you are safe. We are allowed to receive. This is somatic alignment. This is an embodied manifestation. Over time, your voice, breath, and body will begin to move as one signal, and the universe will respond, not to your words, but to your wholeness. Desire can be deceptive. When it comes from the ego, it often reflects lack. I want money, skill. I feel poor. I want love. I feel alone. But when vision arises from identity, from who you truly are, it carries divine momentum. You are not here to chase. You are here to remember. So ask yourself, who would I be if I already had it? This is the golden question. Do not answer it once. Live in it. Sacred practice. Each morning or night, close your eyes and step into the version of you who already embodies the desire. Not imagining it as separate, not visualizing it as far away. Feel it. Walk as them. Talk to them. Think of them. How do they breathe? How do they speak to others? What boundaries do they hold? What no longer disturbs them? Now act accordingly. Small steps, subtle shifts. Over time, your identity shifts, and with it, your vibration. And remember, the universe doesn't give you what you fantasize. It meets you where you are. Spiritual teachings often caution against forcing, but that does not mean you sit idle. The mystics moved, but they moved from alignment, not from anxiety. Action is a sacred offering. It tells the universe, I am ready, I am available, I am responsible. Practical ritual. Each day, take one aligned action, not to get the thing, but to become the version of you who lives in that reality. Want wealth? Practice stewardship. Track your spending. Be grateful for every dollar. Want love? Practice presence. Listen deeply. Set boundaries. Speak kindly to yourself. Want purpose? Practice courage. Share your voice. Follow the sacred nudge. Each step is a prayer in motion. Each step sends a signal into the field. I am no longer waiting. I am walking. And the field responds. After you have aligned, acted, purified, and embodied, there is one final step. The step that terrifies the ego, but liberates the soul. Let go. Let go of the timeline. Let go of the need. Let go of the story that says, it must happen this way. This does not mean giving up. It means trusting you have done your part. Now let the mystery do hers. Ritual practice. Write your desire on paper. Fold it 3 times. Light a candle. Say aloud, this or something higher. I will release it now. I trust the divine order. Then place it in a sacred space, an altar, a drawer, a book of devotion. Walk away. And every time doubt returns, return to your breath. Return to the now. Return to the truth. It is already done in the unseen. And you, Keats, are becoming the one who can receive it. Now, beloved seeker, we have planted the sacred seeds. We have cleared the soil, tuned the instrument, and opened the chamber. You now hold the tools of true manifestation, not based on mimicry but mastery. You are no longer watching others create. You are becoming the creator. From here we walk with reverence. The final blessing. The temple was always within you. You came here seeking results. You may have come with weariness, tired of chasing, tired of searching, tired of wondering why, despite your effort, your world does not yet mirror your desire. But somewhere along the way, a deeper knowing began to stir. A realization that perhaps all this time, the power was never in the words you spoke, but in the energy you carried when no one was watching. And now, as we stand at the closing of this sacred chamber, let me whisper to you the truth that was etched into temple walls, encoded into ancient scripts, and hidden in the sigh of wind through silent trees. The temple was never in the video. The temple was never in the ritual. The temple was always within you. It is not your words that create, it is not your vision board. It is not your chosen crystals or affirmations or incense. It is the frequency you embody when your soul is at rest, when your breath is honest, when your nervous system says, I am safe to receive. This is the secret the ancients guarded. This is the mystery the sages became. This is the reason why watching more, wanting more, needing more will never replace the work of becoming more. And now you have remembered. You've touched the golden thread, the current of truth that has run beneath all manifestation since the beginning of time. You don't manifest by wishing. You manifest by returning to wholeness, to alignment, to the divine order already coded in your soul. The richest life is not summoned, it is allowed. It does not rush in with force, it arrives through resonance. Let us return one last time to the sacred mirror. Stand there metaphorically, look into it not with longing but with reverence, and ask no longer, where is what I desire? Ask instead, what version of me is this mirror waiting for? Because when you become that one, not pretend, not hope, but become, the mirror cannot help but respond. It must. It is divine law. It is cosmic justice. It is spiritual architecture, older than any video you've ever watched. So as we close this journey, here is your final practice, your final blessing. Go dark, go silent, go inward. Take 3 days. Stop searching. Stop seeking. Let your energy return to you. Let the static settle. Feel the floor beneath you. Breathe. Let the desire rest in the cradle of your heart like a seed, not to be rushed, not to be judged, but to be held in love until it blooms in its own divine hour. And when you return, return not as a seeker, but as the one who remembers that the source you were chasing was never out there. It was always within your breath, always in your spine, always in the space between the words. And now, the sacred silence has spoken. You are no longer here to chase manifestations. You are here to become the embodiment of the divine that manifests all things. And now, beloved, the path is open. The question is, will you walk it, not with urgency, but with reverence? This truth was never lost. It was waiting for you to remember. Welcome back to yourself.